Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining me again today. Of course, this is Jason, Cosmic RSSP Authority. RSSP, you know what it stands for, right? Real Secret Space Program, way up there and way deep in space, my friends, as represented by this amazing photo that I love to talk about because I think it's so important. In the infrared photograph, it says, of one of the gigantic cylindrical objects taken by the Hubble all the way in the rings of Saturn, baby. And if you watch my previous videos, anybody, you will know that I show that that is staffed by the U.S. naval officers, okay? And one reason we can know that is even Billy Carson, who owns his own space company called First Class Space Agency, he tells you the cigar-shaped craft deep in space are the size of small cities, supermassive objects. And he says they are staffed by U.S. naval officers. And he says that's a fact. So you could take that to the bank, my friends. And it's so important, right? And there's other reasons why we could know that it's the Navy. I mean, one of them, they even have the patch that says Naval Space Command, okay? But before we go on to the topic that I really want to talk about, I just want a quick reminder, my friends, if you guys do think I have a lot of value to give and share, and if you appreciate me trying to be intellectually honest with my work and hopefully igniting your intellectual curiosities, and if you guys just enjoy my videos in general, please don't hesitate to give me a thumbs up. Hopefully you'll share my videos and subscribe, for heaven's sakes, please. And leave a comment if you want, I read them, okay? Because I know with your guys' help we could take this channel to a whole nother level, but I need your guys' support, all right? I'm trying to give tantalizing revelations often to do with the Real Secret Space Program. Because as I've said, I believe it is the most important subject of our times. Multifaceted, complex subject with a lot of moving parts. But we can unpack a lot of truth, my friends. And I think I've been at least trying my best to do so in a lot of my videos. So today, my friends, we are going to talk about the Real Secret Space Program. Because we're going to talk about, how about the Space Force? That's right. I've been meaning to talk about the Space Force for quite some time. And of course, I almost forgot. Well, you guys can see it, right? Here's the military patches, NASA, the triangle vector symbol, and on the Space Force. Well, guess what? I've said in other videos, my friends, I'll keep telling you guys, so it's so important. They don't put the vector triangle symbols for no reason. And a military patch resembles a real program. They don't make patches for things that don't exist. All right? They may make patches for things that are unacknowledged, but not for things that don't exist. And even the great Michael Schratt, the aerospace historian, he tells you, you know, if you can elucidate or if you can decrypt the symbols in the patches, then you start to understand what's going on in a program. He said that in so many words. And I totally agree, my friends. You can Google all the stealth patches, except there's one, ironically, that you will not see for some reason. Even Michael Schratt doesn't know about it, but I discovered it. And only one other researcher that I know of has sort of alluded to it. That they put a lot of these triangles, the boomerang-shaped craft, and it also represents the TR3B. Right here on the patches, my friends. Absolutely. The TR3B, the huge black triangles that we have a proliferation of them, my friends. Well, guess what? Donald Trump's Space Force that he's trying to get Congress to okay, it's right there on the patch, my friends. This is how they secretly encrypt symbols on the patches. They put it right out in front of people's faces, my friends, on their merchandise and everything. They think we're too dumbed down with willful ignorance or just not interested to know about it, my friends. But it's so important. If you guys want to know the truth about a lot of what's going on with the Real Secret Space Program, and you should, because it relates to almost everybody's lives on this earth, my friends. For example, we're being financially harvested, right? Most of us on this planet, with all the trillions of dollars, as I've talked about before, stolen out of U.S. taxpayers' pockets. And we're going to do a whole videos on the missing trillions. But let's get into the Space Force, Donald Trump's Space Force, okay? Because it's very interesting, isn't it? You know, Donald Trump, his speech was a while back introducing the Space Force. Excuse me, and it started with, how did he say it? He was addressing the congressmen and senators, and he said, you know, he goes on to say, oh, congressmen and senators, Daniel, you would never do this, right? Because he first said that the vital space interests are in conflict with special interests in Washington. And then he addresses the senators and congressmen. He says, but Daniel, you would never do that, right? And then he goes on to say, but my administration is going to change all that. Yes, we are going to have once again America as a spacefaring nation. He's trying to sound all powerful, right? And then he says, it's America's character to explore new horizons, tame new frontiers. And I love that saying, by the way. I've talked about that in other videos too, my friends, right? It should be the essence of all human character to do that. The essence of the human condition is exploration and ultimately discovery and knowledge, as I always say, right? And what defines us as human beings is our ability to understand the world around us, So Trump says that, and again, the essence of the human character is to explore new horizons, tame new frontiers, and then he says, and our, what did he say? Our destiny beyond the earth is not only a matter of national identity, but a matter of national security. And then he says, and national security is so important to our military, right? And it's not talked about very much. Are you kidding me? Not talked about much, right? I'll give you an example of how ridiculous that statement is, my friends. There's so much warmongering in the Empire of the United States. It's incredible, even though it's, a great country in a lot of ways, but so many ways to improve this country, just like every other country out there. So one of the ways, my friends, is we need to improve, obviously, is stop the warmongering and the nonsense, especially from defense contractors from Lockheed Martin and others. So when he says national security and is not talked about much, my point is, right there at the Federation of American Sciences, my friends, I almost have to laugh because they even admit over there, you've got 5,135 patents that have been seized. And that's just for starters, my friends, okay? This is how they've held the rest of the world hostage largely, by taking these patents and classifying them, allowing the classified world to have fun in their anti-gravity space travel revolution, as I described, right? Remember my famous photograph, again, saying infrared photograph of one of the gigantic cylindrical objects taken by the Hubble in the rings of Saturn. And that's staffed by U.S. naval officers. That's a fact, my friends. If you watch my previous videos, I tell you why we can know that, okay? You'll never hear that from Donald Trump, though, right? Again, back to national security. And patents, they either take the technology right from you if people come out with a real fundamental discovery that's disruptive, like free energy, okay? Or they take it, again, through the patent law process of seizure and or through national security order, okay? This is how things work, my friends, and we've got to change that. And again, we've got to fight the good fight on this. Okay, otherwise the classified world is going to continue to lie to us, continue to do all this off-planet investment with no policy discussion, and they haven't even made it transparent at all. It's ridiculous. We'll get into more of that maybe later in this video. So then Donald Trump continues to say, after that he says, in his speech, it was like he was saying, and to defend America, it's essential that America not only have the mere presence in space, but to have dominance in space. And then he says, so this is crucial, right, my friends? He says, and so I hereby direct the Department of Defense and the Pentagon to immediately start the process necessary to establish a space force, the sixth branch of the military. And then he says, that's a big statement. Absolutely it is, right? The sixth branch of the military? And I'm like, are you kidding me? My friends, all you have to have a look is the behavior of the government and the leadership, particularly the covert military civilizations, the deep state for decades and decades, and that includes the CIA, elements of them. What have they been doing, my friends? They've been dominating other countries largely, okay? And the United States are armed to the teeth. Yes, China and Russia are powerful. We need transparency and truth in some degrees of what those countries are doing. And we're always, trying to spy and see what they're up to as well. And we need to protect our countries. I get it, my friends. And it's great that the United States in some ways are powerful, right? But the secrecy and the corruption, the depth and breadth of the corruption is just off the charts. We know this. I mean, come on. Sixth branch of the military. As I said, the United States are already armed to the teeth in space and with our airplanes and jet planes. And we don't need a fleet of F-35s. I did a whole series on that conventional, but it's the fancy jet plane F-35s. Are you kidding me? From Lockheed Martin, right? $1.5 trillion put into this program for 20 years of a program that we don't need. It's just a huge cash cow for Lockheed Martin. That's just an example, my friends, of the massive fraud, waste, and abuse of spending. They were $163 billion over budget in 2014. Can you believe that? Of course, you can't be that inept with their procurement. That money is going to other highly classified projects, okay? And you better believe it's going towards the TR3B. The Space Force puts it right there, my friends, okay? And so the United States don't have to worry about a skirmish from any other country. They have protected their geocentric satellites. They've got significant weapons in space, my friends. They can protect the United States, as I've said in other videos, and any other country for that matter. And of course, I live in my powerful country of Canada, the beautiful country of Canada. So, my point is, my friends, as well, is that, if Trump is going to be successful and con Congress, basically, is what they're going to try to do, the administration. If they're going to try to con Congress into allowing the Space Force to be developed, because he says also, so we're going to create the Space Force, and we're going to have the Space Force and the Air Force. They're separate, but they're equal. That's what he says, right? Well, if we're going to allow Trump to do that, and if Congress is going to allow it, then we, the public, should be demanding from Congress and our governments, we should demand that Trump and his administration be truthful and transparent. Be honest about the black budget technology. You're putting it right in front of people's faces without telling us what it is, unless you're a real good researcher, hardcore researcher, But anybody can collect the data points and do research investigation for yourselves, my friends, and you will find, without a doubt, these are representing the huge black triangles that we have a proliferation of, my friends, in space, above Earth's orbit, geocentric orbit, and they're going to the moon and Mars. Absolutely no question. You can see video and picture evidence, my friends. I'm telling you, okay? And this is trans-international, my friends. I'm serious, trans-international. Okay, look at here in China. All right? This is no coincidence, my friends. China has the TR3B as well, and the boomerang-shaped craft, which is a similar crossover of technology. All right? I did a whole series on the black triangles. My past subscribers, or my subscribers, you guys will know that. And we're going to do another series on those black triangles and the TR3B, my friends. Some are manned, some are unmanned. And it's a crucial, it's the earmarks of these covert military civilizations the last few decades, my friends. It is the cornerstone of them being able to deliver a major covert economic crime cash flows and arms around the world. They're utilizing these vehicles, I believe, and I'll tell you why in future videos. I know that, and you guys can know it as well. And it's crucial. They're doing a lot of clandestine covert operations, of course, and reconnaissance with these black triangles, my friends. Here's more showing the Mir space station, okay? Delivering massive military assets there. All right? And once again, my friends, real quick. This comes out of the Aurora program, these black triangles, the most top secret aerospace program. You can learn about this on the internet as well. And it's the most exotic secret aircraft that's flying, my friends. And the Space Force has put it out on their symbols. Yes, they have. Okay? And my friends, it makes Elon Musk's Falcon 5 heavy rocket and all these private space companies that are using rockets. This is how the governments disorient the public, as I've told you guys before. This is exactly what they do, delivering people and payload with obsolete dinosaur technology. Nazi tech, 1943, my friends. Isn't it unbelievable? But It's such a sophisticated, heavy rocket. The Falcon 5, Elon Musk. Give me a break. Again, my friends, Billy Carson, who owns his own space company, First Class Space Agency, the hardcore space insider, who's trying to bring truth and transparency out there, he tells you it's dumb, of course. And my good friend Michael Schrad, who I have a lot of respect and high esteem for, he tells you it's dinosaur obsolete technology. Absolutely, 1943 tech. But we're still using rockets, my friends. We should be way past the point of rockets for the private space companies and for us to travel in space. And we can't get the truth, my friends. As I say, we're this close, again, to penetrating that black budget technology, my friends. We can get a mainstream understanding of this, or we should, but we've got to come together and talk about it and unite our thinking and ideas so we can eventually coalesce our ideas to beautify our planet, my friends. We can manifest a beautiful reality for ourselves. Absolutely. And so Trump's Space Force, it's all about the space-based economy, my friends. And so they're trying to consolidate power, of course. They want the Air Force to be answerable to the Air Force. That's what Donald Trump and his administration want. They are desperate. They want those trillions of dollars to be made, my friends. Actually, in fact, it's more than that. They say mining asteroids is not just trillions of dollars, it's quadrillions of dollars. Remember, this goes back to Google's mining company as well. In 2015, their company, Planetary Resources, they got the bill, HR 2262, I believe it's called. They got that passed. They lobbied hard against Congress because, if you recall, Google's mining company, they went against the space treaty of what was it? I forget, 1967, I believe, that says space is not subject to claims of sovereignty, right? But Google lobbied hard with Congress. They went against that space treaty. I don't even know why we create space treaties when you got big companies like Google going against it. But I can understand Google's motivations. They want to mine asteroids, of course. This is very fragile. It's just started, my friends, in the last few decades. But it has started. It has begun. So my point is, the current leadership and government in the United States, they want a piece of that. Donald Trump, being the businessman, and sure, he's made a lot of mistakes as a businessman, but most business, or a lot of business guys do at some point, or business ladies too. You make mistakes, but Donald Trump, he knows enough as a businessman that, and his administration, that the big move is, in fact, for sure, the space-based economy, my friends. And they want a piece of it, okay? But if they're going to have a piece of it, this is the only consternation, my main consternation I have with Donald Trump and the Space Force is just knowing the behavior of the governments and the leadership is, I'm afraid that they're going to, do a lot of clandestine activities unless, my friends, unless we start shunning the dirty players. That means the people behind the curtains, the likes of the CIA, the NRO, the NSA, elements of the Navy and the Air Force, the deep black program contractors, the ones that are trying to cover up for 60 plus years, for example, on the amazing fundamental scientific discovery, this anti-gravity electromagnetic propulsion that they discovered and they harnessed as a technological reality, my friends. They harnessed this legendary energy as a viable technological reality, no question about it. And it's a viable, renewable, free energy coming from the ether space, my friends. The 0-point energy, that's part of it, okay? And we deserve the truth, my friends, because again, it's going to beautify our planet, as I always say, in ways we can't even begin to imagine. So if Trump's going to have the Space Force be successful in establishing it, well, then I say we deserve the truth, of course, on the technologies that you're going to be utilizing, like the TR3B and the massive boomerang-shaped craft, and of course, the massive cigar-shaped craft operated by the Navy that are the size of small cities, deep in space, my friends, supermassive objects. And Billy Carson tells you that. And he tells you they are staffed by U.S. naval officers. So you could take that to the bank. And there's other reasons why we know the Navy has these vehicles. The Navy, my friends, as I've always said, NASA is just a cover for the NRO and the Air Force space programs. And the NRO and the Air Force, they're a cover for a more highly classified covert space program. Can you guess who that is? You got it. It's the Navy, baby. Absolutely. Okay? The Navy is largely in charge of the RSSP, Real Secret Space Program. And we deserve transparency and truth on them as well. Because, and again, even on their patches, we'll do all videos on this, but more researchers are realizing it says Naval Space Command. They have a huge presence in space. They got massive USOs coming out of the oceans. They've been seen worldwide, my friends, okay? And tracked on radar going into space. The ones you don't see, however, are the massive cigar-shaped craft. They're released at nighttime and they're going into space. No question, okay? And think locations like Marion Trench, the Malibu underground, under-ocean bases we got worldwide, my friends, particularly in Malibu, okay? They're seen almost daily by witnesses, all right? So I'm just trying to give you guys a brief overview here of what's really happening, a big, broad, conceptual context of the Real Secret Space Program, my friends. Because the Space Force, this is going to be very, very interesting. We live in such a remarkable, exciting, fascinating, astonishing times, don't we? A privileged era, my friends. We live in an era of space travel and exploration. And, of course, the internet, superhighway, uninhibited, unedited. That's right. The governments do a hell of a lot of data collecting, don't they? But isn't it great that our society has internet? Absolutely, my friends. But we deserve so much more truth than what we're getting. And we don't deserve all the lies, the disinformation, the misdirection, the orchestrated strategic distractions, putting out shills largely for the U.S. intel agencies, like an Elon Musk. Yes, I say Elon Musk, my friends. Even though in some ways he's an interesting guy and he's done some good work, but he's largely just a commercial dangle, largely, for the U.S. intel agencies. And why am I so adamant about saying that? We'll do whole videos, hopefully, on Elon Musk in the future. It's because, my friends, once you know he's using a Falcon 5 rocket, and you got YouTubers like Answers with Joe, this guy's bragging about Elon Musk's Falcon 5 rocket and all these rockets. And you got another YouTuber called Astronaut Answers. He's bragging about rockets. And Answers with Joe, he does some really good videos. But it just, I get so deeply frustrated with these guys when they're bragging about rockets, which is 1943 obsolete technology, like I said. These guys have no idea, apparently, the covert side. They have no idea about the amazing high pitch of real technologies, my friends, that we have in space. I mean, come on. The massive boomerang-shaped triangles seen in upwards of 25,000 witnesses, for example, between 1982 and 89, the Hudson Valley incident, 40 miles from New York City, my friends. Witnesses seeing these huge black triangles hovering, and from a dead stop, I always say they do something very interesting. They can go over the horizon and back again in less than a second. That's what we're talking about. Totally revolutionary, non-plutonium physics, my friends. We're not talking aerodynamics here. They are manipulating literally electromagnetism and gravity, and that's why they're getting to Mars, the military, my friends, certain military groups, in 2 weeks or less. Even Billy Carson tells you that time frame. Truly remarkable, isn't it, my friends? Because they're using that gravity and magnetic pulls, and they pick a certain time of year, for example, it gets them there that much faster. And you better believe that TR3B, they're going to be getting there in the same time frame. And you see pictures of those triangles at times literally on Mars, in the skies, my friends. And this isn't photoshopped. I mean, come on. And a lot of professional experts in photography will show you the anomalies on Mars, my friends. Even though NASA tries to dull the contrast, tries to create this lifeless, barren landscape often on Mars, but you could still see a lot of this for yourselves, my friends. Just open your eyes. You see? I mean, come on. So we can get a lot of truth, my friends, but we need to keep unpacking it because it's so important for our society, right? To have an amazing, to have freedom and to have liberty and happiness and peace, We deserve it, my friends, right? The U.S. Constitution, remember, your rights come, it says, our rights come from divine creation, right? Your right to freedom, liberty, and happiness comes from divine authority. And that means us Canadians too, everyone, my friends, in the world, okay? I agree with that. From the values from that Scottish Enlightenment, it states, your freedom, liberty, and happiness comes from divine authority. We come from divine creation, my friends. Okay? Whether call it God or, the universe, I believe, has a consciousness, omnipresent self-awareness to it. Call it God, call it what you will. But we are a miracle, my friends, and we're part of the universe. The universe isn't us. We know that now in the last 20 years with cosmology. Okay? We're part of stardust. All right? We are spiritual beings. And, so we have the right to take down and build new governments. It says that in the U.S. Constitution. So I'm trying to compel you guys, particularly in the United States, okay? Why don't you guys do like a peaceful march, I always say, in Washington, D.C. there, right? And demand your right, have picket signs if you want, demanding your right to these free energy generation propulsion systems, my friends. That's what the governments have been holding back, and the military, my friends. And you won't need centralized utilities, therefore, and we won't need stinky oil and gas. You won't have a centralized utility bill. We haven't needed coal, stinky oil and gas, internal combustion, rocket engines, jet engines or rockets for 50 to 60 years, right? I did a whole video on this showing you, my friends, that we've been obfuscated from the truth on real fundamental discovery technology progress for 50 to 60 years, okay? We've just sort of tinkered around the edges in terms of technology. I even said on a video, your apps, they're cool, but the internet, remember, that came from DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Program Administration. I call it the diabolical Advanced Research Program Administration. But the technologies, the apps are cool, right? Yes, you don't need a Yellow Pages, you can search for a restaurant. But that's just digitalized. That's no big deal, right? The apps, it's innovation and application. These are I describe it as the multi-consortium or multinational corporate spin-offs, in other words, And so the people at Silicon Valley, they'll think, what are you talking about? We tinker around the edges. But exactly, they're doing more innovation application. They're doing some good work, but it's not real fundamental discovery technology progress. Not really, right, my friends? Come on. So we got to change that. And I told you why this is happening, because they've held us hostage. They classify all these patents and take them, my friends. And we've got to change that. And that means uniting together and provide ethical leadership. That's crucial. And to do it, my friends, part of doing that is shunning these dirty players. Exposing some of the elements within the CIA, what they've been doing for decades now. Year after year, all the diva moves they're playing. And the other intel agencies. Okay? And, there's some good people in the CIA. I always qualify that. Don't get me wrong. But there's a lot of insidious agendas. And a lot of this goes back to the secrecy. When you have this much crazy schizophrenic wall of secrecy, it breeds corruption, right? Absolutely it does. So I'm not going to go on a tangent anymore about secrecy right now. We'll do more videos on that, my friends. But calmly, I just want to say we deserve the truth on what's going to be going on if the Space Force gets off ground, which it probably will. They're probably going to buy out Congress in a lot of ways, my friends, offering them, as they often do, personnel, benefits, whatever it is, and or threats sometimes. But they're going to get this off the ground, I believe, because there's so much money. Our cosmos is infinite with wealth. When you're talking quadrillions of dollars to be made mining asteroids and for the future, that shows our cosmos, our infinite cosmos, my friends. This magnificent, glorious universe of ours is infinite with wealth, right? Well, we deserve a piece of it as well, my friends. Absolutely we do. And we need to know what's going on. And I hope you guys agree. I'm sure you will, right? Absolutely. And I'm telling you, my friends, there's no question in my mind through my research, and you guys can find this out for yourselves and just listen to me, because I'm telling you, these represent the TR3B and the huge boomerang-shaped craft, the chevron-shaped craft with a triangular edge that have been seen worldwide. No question about it. But you're not hearing that from Donald Trump, are you? And you never hear Donald Trump talking about the Navy, who's spearheading largely under the military branch, the real secret space program, the USOs coming out of the oceans. It's about time we're told the truth, my friends. But you guys can know it, absolutely. So let's demand respectfully and have a peaceful march one day in front of Washington. Get lots of people together and demand our right to this. Okay? Quick shout out to my buddy Joe from the Carolinas, by the way. You're doing great work, Joe. We're loving your videos. And Joe's done some good work too on the Space Force. But Joe, we need to do another live stream again, I believe, because you know we can rock it again. We had a blast the first time, and it'll definitely help my channel. I was very thankful you invited me on. I'll always be grateful. And my heart's open for you, Joe, especially since you did that for me. But let's do it again. You know I need help. We can help each other again, my friends. And we can, Joe, I can help you. You can help me. So let's get on another live stream for the audiences, for the world. Two charismatic guys bouncing their ideas off one another. We could talk about the Space Force, space-based economy, and a whole lot more to do with the real secret space program, as I love to talk about because it's so, so important. So think about that, Joe. I hope you will, my friend. You promised we'll do another live stream again. You said that after we did our powerful live stream 6 months ago. I think it was the most electric, powerful, informative live stream possibly ever done, my friends, even though my lighting was horrible. That was 6 months ago. I think we've had over 2,300 views. I might put the link underneath this video. You guys can check it out for yourselves if you're interested. It was titled, right, Joe? I think you said live transmission at the top. And then the title under the description was, I think the title was Secret Space Program Culture Controversial Interview. Yeah, that's what it was. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. If you enjoy my videos, again, give me that thumbs up, subscribe, and share my videos if you want. Leave a comment. All right? Thanks again for listening. Have a great day. Live strong, and let's get the truth. Let's be advocates for the truth, my friends. Take care. Thanks. Space Force. Let's get the truth on it. Bye-bye. They want more covert financing. Remember that too, my friends. There's a lot on the agenda, and we'll talk more about it. Bye-bye.